Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another situation with your girl, Audrey Codner from ACGmathtutoring. Yes, you can see my lovely face. So hopefully everyone is doing well today. I just wanted to pop on in, try a different scene, try a different look, just to see how things are going with you at the same time. If you are learning Algebra 1, you're getting yourself ready for the GED, the ASVAB, the ACCUPLACER, the TEAS test, the HESI test, basically any test that has to deal with algebra, this is the live for you. So right now, we're actually going to be breaking down concepts. And if you know the answer, you go ahead and put it in the chat. I can see my chat up and rolling right now. Hello, user49. And what we're basically doing is we're breaking down these math concepts step by step. If you know the answer, go ahead and put it in the chat. If you're not sure what the answer is, you can put a question mark and then just put it right there. So that kind of gives me an idea of where we're at and how much information I have to break on down. So as you guys are coming on in, thank you so much for coming here. So hopefully I'm recording because, yeah, I'm just sampling, right? Let's see if I got the record starting right there. There it is. Okay, so right now we're looking at solve for y. So we have 2 times y plus 4 is equal to 3y minus 2. So I got Toby is telling me B it's 10. Someone else is telling me it's 10. Sar is saying it's A. Okay, with the 6. So let's see if I can also clear things up because I've been like trying to play around with this thing for a bit. Let's see if that works for a bit. There we go. Yes, thank you so much for the follow. So I got another B with living. I got another B. Oh, welcome in Yonda. All right. So let's see what we got here. Let's see how people are coming in. And if you know anybody that's looking for a little help with the algebra, try to get them ready for the ASVAB. I know a lot of people are taking it this month, even just to get ready just for algebra. If you're homeschooling or if you're just in between, just need a little help, go ahead, share it live. Go ahead, share it out. All right. So a lot of A's and a lot of B's. Some people are saying 6s. Okay. So I'm noticing a lot of people are not saying C or D. So that's pretty good. So let's take a look. First things first, besides I'm the realist, we need to do our distributive properties. So when we distribute that 2 to everything in there. Sometimes I like to do the shortcut of dividing 2 on both sides, but you know, it's going to give me a nice little fraction over here, and I know how you guys feel about fractions. So once I do the distribution, I'm going to have 2y plus 2 times 4, that gives me 8, equals 3y minus 2. So now I need to get all my y's on one side. This is something that a lot of people generally have trouble with, okay? So you can put the variable that you're looking for on either side of the equal sign. It really doesn't matter which side you put it on. So since I know a lot of us love to have positive numbers, so I'm going to subtract this 2y. So my 2y's here, positive and negative, they'll cancel out. Then I have my 8 is equal to 3 minus 2, which is 1y, or just y. Bring down my minus 2 from here. And then I'm going to add 2 on both sides. So now I have 8 plus 2, that gives me my 10. So we have y is equal to 10. So my answer is B. All right, thanks, John, for popping in. I appreciate you. Okay. All right, so there we are. So we are going to have any questions? Any questions? I see a couple people popping in there. All right, so this is the one thing that we have to understand. You got to take it step by step, okay? So you don't want to be like, oh, everything's in. You could if you want to, if you want to plug numbers in for y. If I plug the 6 in for this y, I got 6 plus 4, that will give me 10. And then 10 times 2 will give me 20 on this side. If I plug that 6 in for y over here, I got 3 times 6, that gives me 18. And 18 minus 2, that gives me 16. So I don't have the same answer on both sides of the equal side. So you can either plug it in and then try to simplify, or you can actually do the algebra. So you do have options. All right, so let's take a look at the next one. And what I basically did was I created this test for a young lady that is trying to take the PERT test, P-E-R-T, especially for Florida. So just to get you ready for that. But I noticed a lot of these concepts were also on the GED and the ASVAB, so we might as well just put it all together. All right, thanks for checking in. Kind of questions on the ASVAB? Yes, they are. Okay, especially for the algebraic piece. So now we're going to evaluate. We have 2x squared minus 3x plus 5 when x is equal to -2. So is your answer A, 7, B, 19, C, 3, or D, 23? Okay, so I'm seeing a 19 and 18. Okay, same person, 19. All right. So let's see what you get. Thank you so much for sharing the lives, and thank you for the loves. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, Anna is also saying it's 19. All right, yes. Yeah, if you can hit on the likes so we can attract more people to come into the live, go ahead and do so. Why not? All right, and some people will probably say, oh, math, I'm out. Like, no, you don't have to be out. All right, so if you're not sure, remember, you have the option to put the question mark in. Okay, so just in case you're not sure. All right, thanks for joining in, guys. Appreciate this. And thank you for the hearts. I see a couple of the hearts up and floating. Appreciate that. Okay, good. Sosa, thank you for your honesty. Exo, thank you for your honesty. Jacob is saying B. Dark Knight, how are you doing? Saying B. Freddie is saying B. Okay, a couple more. Let's see what we got. Couple people joining in, popping out. That's fine. Pedro, welcome on in. You're saying it's A. Okay, Angel is saying it's B. Okay, Pete with the B. Got with our dollar signs like, math. Okay, you got 11 somehow. All right, well, let's take a look. So, Jeremy, we got 7. Sprite, we have C. 2 play A. 2 sunflowers B. All right, so let's take a look here. So they're telling us to evaluate. When you evaluate, you substitute. So basically, anytime you see an X, you're going to plug a -2. So that means I have my 2, I'm going to put a parenthesis. I have my -3, I'm going to put a parenthesis, and my +5. So what's going inside the parentheses is my -2, because that's where the X's were. All right? So now we have that -2 squared. We all have to do, let me see if I can squeeze it on in here. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Okay, we need to work on the order of operations. Okay, first thing, inside these parentheses, we don't have anything, so boom, P is gone. Now we have an exponent. So -2 squared. That's not a -4, okay? All right, you can't see right here. All right, so if anything, we have that -2 squared. So that means -2 times -2. So here, we're going to have 2 parentheses 4, because a negative times a negative gives us a +4. All right, now, we're going to also have our -3 times -2 plus 5. All right, so now I'm going to do multiplication or division from left to right. So from left to right, we got our multiplication. So we're going to multiply 2 times 4, and we're going to multiply -3 times -2. So 2 times 4, that gives us 8. Negative times negative gives me a positive, and 3 times 2 gives me 6. All right, so now we're bringing down the +5. So we don't have any division left over. We just have addition and subtraction. All right, so now we're going to do our combining of 8 plus 6 because we're going from left to right, all right? So when we have our 12, that gives us our 14 plus our 5 that we just brought down. 14 plus 5, that gives us 19. So for those that said option B or 19, good job. For those that didn't, do you see what happened? Make math easier for you? All right, thank you. All right, do you see what happened? How it got into it? All right, always go with your gut. Definitely. Definitely. All right, not a problem. So when you evaluate, you're substituting, and they're going to tell you what you need to substitute for. So once they tell you that your x is going to be at -2, anytime you see an x, you plug it in. But the thing that always gets you guys, especially if it's going to be squared, you need to do the squaring first. Don't do 2 times -2. Oh, it's -4, then -4. You got 16. Everything just got all kinds of crazy, all right? So break it on down step by step. Don't forget to please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. If you don't like to please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, remember, for all my international people, okay, you also have your B, meaning your brackets, O is your other, D is your division, M multiplication, addition, and subtraction, okay? No matter what, it's still going to be your order of operation, all right? Okay, so I do not do calculus, so this is not the platform for you. There's a lot of other people that do calculus, and some of them are doing it late at night. So, I mean, I appreciate it if you want to come in. I appreciate it, but if it's to the point that it's too slow for you, hey, that's fine. You know, I really wanted to break it down to people that, one, haven't seen math since they were a fetus. Let's try that. Another one, that for people that always said that they hate math, just can't get through it, but yet they're trying to get back into school to get their GED, their ASVAB so they can get into the military, their ACCUPLACER, maybe even the TEAS test because you want to become a nurse and you're trying to get a lot of the algebraic components. That's what I do, okay? That's my little forfeit, okay? This is perfect, don't change it, not a problem. All right, so now we're going to do what's called simplify a radical. Let me see if I can clear this up. I'm using my friend's thing. Yes, there we go. All right, so we have the square root of 48, okay? And I know a lot of you guys haven't seen square roots since you were a fetus, okay? And I understand that. So as we're breaking down concepts, okay, I'm going to go through step by step. I'm never just going to say, all right, here's the question. All right, bye. Like, no, I'm not going to do that, right? So we're trying to break down that square root of 48. So is it A, 6 times the square root of 8, B, 4 times the square root of 3, C, 16 times the square root of 3, or D, 4 times the square root of 6? Okay, here's the question. I gotta go. Okay, all right, so we got some C's, we got some D's, we got Liam, we got Owen with the B. All right, is that gotcha? All right, Deli, we got some B's, we got some D's, okay. We have an A from Zbot. Pond, sorry. Self C, we got D, guys is obviously B. Well, it may not be obvious to everyone, so that's why we're doing this, okay. That's why we're here, all right. So a lot of B's, a couple of C's, and a couple of D's. The mere fact that I'm seeing more than one answer tells me that we need to go over this. All right, so square root of 48. The best thing when you're trying to break down radicals, even factoring, you need to know your multiplication facts. So knowing your multiplication facts, and also, let me see if I can find it, because some of my books have them. Some of them you have like your perfects. So I have what's called a factor sheet, okay? So on the factor sheet, so I'm going to go all the way to 48. Let's see where we got. Here we are. So right here we're at 48. So these are the factors of 48. So basically what two numbers multiplied together will give me 48. So I have 1 and 48. I have 2 and 24, 3 and 16, 4 and 12, and 6 and 8. Now, notice this 3 and 16 is in red. So this is what I like to call a perfect prime combination. So when you're breaking down square roots, you always want to see if you have a perfect square root in the midst. And what I mean by a perfect square root is if I said the square root of 9, what is the number squared will give me 9? 3 times 3, that means 3 squared, is going to give me 9. So if I take the square root of 9, I'm going to get a result of 3 because I get 3 times 3 gives me 9. Just like 4 times 4 gives me 16. So the square root of 16 is a perfect square root. 6 times 6 gives me 36. So the square root of 36 is 6. It gives me a perfect square root. It gives me a whole number. All right. So if I take a look at 48, I had square root of 16 and the square root of 3. Let's slide this over a bit. Okay, so 16 and 3. The square root of 16, that's going to be my perfect root. And the root 3 is going to be prime. Prime meaning I can't break it down any further than it is. This is it. No further. Okay? But the square root of 16, that gives me 4. Once I see that whole number of 4 is there, right away, A is not an option and nor is C an option. Okay? A wasn't going to be an option anyway because the square root of 8 is not perfect. Okay? Still can be broken, or not prime. It still can be broken down. So now, this square root of 3 is prime. If I can't break it down, I'm going to bring it down. So my answer is going to be B. Now, what happens if you don't have one of my handy dandy factor charts? You just have to think of multiples. So let's say, because some people like to do this, say that we take our, like, how would you do it if you didn't have it? Now, remember, GED, ASVAB, ACCUPLACER, you cannot use a calculator for the test. So you're really going to have to hone in on your multiplication skills. This is true fact. That's how it's going to be. Okay? But for those that are taking the SAT, ACT, you might get a situation, especially ACT, you might get a situation like this that you're going to have to break down the square root. So what you could do, especially if you're currently in the classroom, you could, maybe not, be so close, and it would be nice if you can see. All right, I'll angle it up a little bit. So if I take that 48 and I start dividing by my perfects, or my primes. So if I divide by 12, I'm going to get a 24. 24 is not a perfect square. So then I'm going to try 48. What's the next prime number? 3. I'm going to divide it by 3. When I divide it by 3, I get 16. 16 is a perfect. So if you're currently in the classroom and you're like, I just don't know how to simplify radicals, this is what you can do. You can take the number that's under the radical and start dividing by your prime numbers. Don't start with 1 because it doesn't make sense, right? And plus 1 is not a prime number. The first prime number is 2, all right? So once you broke all that down, now you got your square root of 16 and your square root of 3. That's what we did here. The 16 and the 3, we know that the square root of 16 is perfect, which gives us our 4, and the square root of 3 is prime, so you just bring it on down. Okay? So, good job. Good question for that. Why did we not break down the 4? Because once it came out of the square root of 16, square root of 16 is 4, not square root of 4. That means that square root is done. Gone. All right? So once it's perfect, it's coming out perfect, not under a radical anymore. Okay? So that's why we don't have to break down the 4 anymore, because it's not inside of a radical. It's a whole number. All right? Awesome. Okay. So let's go with another problem. So I just try to do a whole little series. One, get you ready. Just trying to break some concepts down as best we can. Okay, so let's go. What standard of math is this? This is like a combination of like basically Algebra 1. Some of the questions may go into a little bit of geometry because remember, we have to deal with area. You have to do with volume, especially for the GED, the ASVAB, and the ACCUPLACER test. So anything from Algebra 2 and down, you're going to see a lot of for GED and ACCUPLACER. ASVAB, sometimes they can go a little bit of pre-calc, but I know, the ACCUPLACER, they do pre-calc as well. All right, so I got a couple people who are telling me B, Jacob is like right on it. All right, thank you for checking. Can't see the whole problem. So it's just negative 2x plus 4 is greater than 10. Okay, so all we're doing is solving for x. Okay, I should do for Calc 1. I don't do calculus. That's not my jam. I give that to other people. I know that everyone likes my way of teaching, but you know, no. Just no. Now, can I do it? Sure. Do I want to do it? Only for like tutoring. No. All right. So we have is A when x is greater than negative 3, B when x is less than negative 3, C is greater than 3, or D, x is less than 3. Okay, which of these statements will be true for our original inequality? So Stephanie would B, Far would B, Jessica A, Michael B, baby, Isaiah B, B, the chosen child, how are you? B, okay, Christina B, user 67, A, Christina B, I see you. Is that penguin? Not sure. There's some other things that's kind of like in the mist. All right, signs flip when x is negative. Okay, so I got some D's and got some C's, have some B's, some D's, some B's. Okay, we got a nice little mixture because you have to flip the sign. Okay, so we got some C's, some B's, some A's. All right, let's see what we got here. So we have negative 2x plus 4 is greater than 10. So you're solving inequalities similar to how you solve a regular equation. The key is, or the goal, is to get the variable by itself, okay? So I always like to make the relation that this is you and your boo. Your x, your boo, is negative 2. So here comes positive 4 trying to break you guys up. So what do? Our love is strong. So we're going to do the opposite to get rid of the 4. We don't care where she goes or he goes, but they need to get away from us, right? So we do the opposite of plus 4. We subtract 4 on both sides. Bring down our negative 2x. And we have our greater than. And then we have 10 minus 4. So that gives me 6. So now, people are talking about flipping the signs. True. But we don't flip when we're adding or subtracting. We flip when we multiply or divide by a negative. So now, yes, Akil, we got that. We're going to divide both sides by negative 2 because we want to get x by itself. So now we have x. But guess what we did? We divided by a negative 2. So that means we have to change the direction of the sign so we can get a true statement. If you don't and you try to put problems in or just numbers in to substitute just to check it, you're going to get a false answer. You'll get an answer, but it'll be wrong unless you flip the inequality sign. So now we got 6 divided by negative 2. That gives us a negative 3. So since we got a negative 3, we know that C and D is completely off because they all have a 3. And then we just have to focus on our signage, which the answer is B. All right. Okay, we're doing all right. flipping the side. It's still picking. Okay. Sorry. Yep. Good. Great. Must have known. That's no problem. All right. Okay. You love this? Good. So smart. Yes, you are so smart. All right. But this is so helpful. Yes. Did this yesterday? Yep. Yeah, I was going to show like another thing that some of maybe your students are currently learning. So let's try this one. Oh, it's so nice to see the sun come out, guys. You have no idea. It was been cold up in here. All right, so find 15% of 80. We got to do the percentages, guys. Got to. Have to. It's a must. Yep. So you know about switching signs now, traveling. Awesome. So 15% of 80. Is it 10? Is it 12? Is it 14? Or is it 15? So go ahead and put your answer in the chat. If you're not too sure, put a question mark. Okay? It's perfectly fine. This is supposed to be a nonchalant, no stress, no pressure type of thing. Okay? So we got that. We got a bunch of C's, got some B's. All right, Nova, I got you. Okay, whoa, that was fast. It's like it just go like really quick. Okay, so we got our 14s, we got 12s, we got 12s. We have some people with B's, a whole bunch of B's. Got some 12s, got a D. Okay, got some B's with flex. All right, and I got a couple C's. All right. Oh, thank you so much for the follow. Calculator. Now, remember, you want to practice the way you're going to play. All right, I used to say that when I was a coach. So if you're going to practice and you're just going to be playing around, and when it's time for you to step it up, you're not going to know what to do. So this is what's happening. 15%. So 15%. Why is this so blurry? It's so crazy. Well, let's see if we can zoom it up there. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so 15%. We need to change that to a decimal. Okay, so if you want, you can have your 15 out of 100 and then reduce it as a fraction, but I know about your love of fractions. So 15% turning into a decimal. If I start here at the percent sign, I have to move it over 1, 2. So that means 15% is going to be 0.15. Okay, I think I was seeing a lot of 1.5s. All right, so we're trying to get it out of 100. Okay, we're not doing this 110% stuff. We're looking at 100. Sorry, let me see if I can orientate myself a little bit. There we go. All right, so we're saying this of. Of means multiplication. Okay, so that means we're going to take 80 times my 0.15. All right, so we got our 5 times 0, that gives me 0. 5 times 8, that gives me 40. 1 times 0, that gives me 0. We're putting it in the 10 spot. We're putting it in the 10 spot. And 1 times 8 gives me 8. So now we have 0, 0, 4 and 8, that gives me 12. But since this has no decimal place, this has 2 decimal places. When you're multiplying and you're dealing with decimals, you have to add how many decimal places you have. So this has to be an answer with 2 decimal places. So if we move it over, 1, 2, my decimal place is going to be between the 2 and the 0. That gives me 12. There's a lot of B's on this test. That gives me 12. All right. Now, that's just one way of doing it. I know there's going to be a lot of people like, oh yeah, Audrey, I could have done, and you should have turned into a fraction, then you did this, then you should have sacrificed a chicken, hopped on one leg, and all this stuff, and you would have got the answer of 12. Okay. Relax. It's already going to be a stressful situation. I'm not going to lie to you. Especially those that are taking the ASVAB, they are only going to give you 1 minute per question. Now here's the thing. There's going to be some questions that are going to be really easy that you'll be able to understand, just simple adding, subtracting. Maybe you'll be able to get your distance, rate, and time. Don't forget about those lovely things. This will help you out if you do those distance, rate, and time questions. All right, think of the triangle. So if you're looking for your distance, that means you need to multiply the rate and the time. If you're looking for the rate, cover up the rate. That means you're looking for the distance divided by time. If they say, what is the time? That means you're taking the distance and dividing by the rate. Okay, just a little side note. On these tests, for the GED, the ASVAB, and the ACCUPLACER, you cannot use a calculator for. That, especially the ASVAB. You're not going to be allowed a calculator. They may give you paper, or they might give you a homemade, whiteboard. Yeah, so laminated. So that's why I'm always saying you want to practice the way that you're going to test. All right, that's always critical for me. Okay, timing will come, because that's why I tried to do the process of elimination with a lot of this. The ASVAB is the test that people take to join the military. There's like 2 parts to it. Oops. Let me do... I keep hitting that wrong button. It's almost like I want to hit that button, but it's not necessary. It's all kinds of crazy. Yep. So it's too much. Well, it depends. And especially if you're a person that you had to leave school because, or you're trying to get your GED, because there has a certain score, especially the ASVAB, with the B at the end. It's either you have your GED, there's a certain score, or for those that don't have their GED. So if you had to leave school, take care of your younger siblings, or you had to leave school because you did a lot of traveling, or whatever the reasoning was, a lot of people are starting to want to do something or some kind of improvement for themselves, but it's tough to do when you don't have the concept. And now I'm also going to tell you, COVID definitely did a damage to your kids. So if you're going to sit there and be like, oh no, everything's fine. No, I have high school juniors that cannot handle multiplication, like 7 times 4, not even 7 times table, like 3 times 7 or 3 times 5 without a calculator. A junior in high school. Hi, how you doing? All right. Now we're going to take a look at factors or factoring. So we want to know what the 2 factors, the 2 products, okay, parentheses, if I were to multiply. So we just need one of them, okay? But we need to figure it out. So some people are telling me B, some people are telling me C, okay? You're struggling with this in calculus because probably, depending on what time you're in, you probably had to do factoring during COVID. Because it all makes sense. Because a lot of teachers are like, oh, you should know what this is. No, you don't. So we have to pretend, okay? You can't see it. Okay, yep, there's a lot of this. Definitely the factoring. All right, so this is what's happening. I'm going to see if I can clear it up as best I can. There we go. All right. When you're factoring, okay, and I'm seeing a lot of people with C's, and some people are taking this in Algebra 2, which is awesome. When I'm factoring and my leading coefficient, which is the number that's in front of the variable, okay, that has the highest degree, aka the highest exponent, all right? So when I have to the 2nd power, that means my leading coefficient is going to be what's in front of this x. And of course, I got 4 eyes, and some of you guys probably have great 20/20 vision, can see that there's nothing there. But what's assumed to be there is a 1, because there's 1 x squared. So when there's a 1, you can go right into your 2 parentheses. And what's going to happen is we're going to take your x squared and we're going to split it. That means there's going to be 1x in one parenthesis and 1x in the other. Because if you think about this, x times x, when you multiply, gives me x squared. X plus x gives me 2x. Do you see the difference? Okay? X plus x gives you 2x. That's not what we're dealing with. We're dealing with x times x, which gives me x squared. So if I'm going to do it in reverse, I'm basically splitting it up. Now, I want to take the last term, which is 6, and the middle term, which is -5. And I have to think of this. What two numbers multiply will give me 6, and those same two numbers add together will give me -5. Okay? Most people will call this the AC method. I think it's Celia. Okay? So I have 2 and 3, 2 and 3, -2, -3, -2, -3, 6 and -1. Okay, we got the -3 and the -2. Because that might be. But in this part, it's going to be a 1. If you don't see it, it's assumed to be a 1. We don't need to be too technical because I'm talking to people that they already have a fear of math, and I'm not going to go into full dissertation of the historics of math. Just keeping it simple. Okay? Just going to keep it simple. Okay? And you passed it? Good job, Candy. So, two numbers multiplied to give me 6. All right? So I saw 6 and 1. And I saw 3 and 2. Now, if I add 6 and 1 together, I'm going to get a 7. We're not looking for a 7. We're looking for a -5. But some people say, oh, I can use -6 and 1. Well, -6 and a +1 will give me a -6. We're looking for a +6. So we really got to know our multiplication. That's 1. And we really got to understand those integers and how they work, especially with multiplication and addition. All right? So I can do 3 and 2, but if I do just 3 and 2, that's going to give me a +5. But we need a -5. So we can make both of these negative. Reason why, a negative times a negative gives me a +6. Good job. And then -3 plus a -2, that gives me a -5. Awesome job. So these are the numbers that we're going to use. So that means this -3, I'm going to put over here. And this -2, I'm going to put over here. Okay? You can exchange them if you want. If you wanted x minus 2 here and x minus 3 there, that's fine. Because remember, with multiplication, order doesn't matter. You're going to get the same answer. 1 times 6 and 6 times 1 is both going to give you 6. Okay? Now, they want to know which factor. So we have x minus 3. Do we have x minus 3s? Nope, we have an x plus 3, so that ain't going to work. We have an x minus 2. Do we have an x minus 2? Ding, ding, ding. And finally, we got an answer that's not B. It's C. Okay. Okay. Yes, that's the thing. Don't second guess yourself. When you're taking these exams, people, let me be real with you. I took the praxis to be a teacher because I taught like over 22 years in the trenches for 22 blessed years. And it took me 11 times, 1, to pass the praxis. It's something that I wanted. It's something that I wanted to do. I wanted to be a teacher, and this was the only thing that was hot. I just didn't know history. Remembering dates, I can't remember people's birthdays. So how are you going to make me remember dates and situations? So history wasn't it. English, have we not taught? English is not my thing. Okay, do I tutor? Yes, I do. I do a lot of things. Okay, so I decided that math was it. You know, I really wanted to get into education. So when you take these tests do not define you. You need to get past this barrier so you can do what you want to do, which is maybe get a better job, or maybe a better paying job, or maybe don't have 4 dead-end jobs. Now you can just focus on one or whatever you want to do, or maybe go into the military to do whatever field, because they're going to teach you when you get there. So my whole thing, it's like, let's break all this stuff down and let's be encouraging, okay? The fact that you're here and you're sitting there yammering on, I appreciate that, okay? And you're seeing that this is going to be kind of helpful to you, awesome, okay? So I'm seeing some, I know, really? That is crazy. I love when people are like, oh, I've been teaching for a while. I'm like, how long? And they're like, 2 years. I'm like, are you serious? You haven't even begun to live. Let me see if I can find one more factoring. And I got to keep an eye on my time because... Oh, that was on my other sheet. Okay. Yeah, I got to keep an eye on my time because I got a tutor. So if you guys are here, where am I based? I'm in, really shine. Come on, let's grow up. So what we're trying to do is, what we got? See, it always takes just one person just to be a pain. Now I gotta report you. Now I gotta do all this stuff. And then, you know what, Shine? I got your name, so I will be stalking you later. Don't screw with me. Alright, so let's go. New things. Alright. I know, right, Candy? Take a nap. And the weird part is, it might be a person I know, and I might know your mama. Is this for 7th grade? This is for basically anyone that's taking algebra. Anyone that's taking algebra. So let's take a gander. So before I go to this problem, actually, I'm going to cover it up because I know I got so many people. Before I go to this problem, if you guys think I should do a little bit more with the factoring, put it in the chat. Just put a Y in the chat. Yeah, just put a Y. Oh, Cecilia, thank you so much for the gifts. I appreciate it. It's weird. I can't see gifts from this aisle. Okay, so I got a bunch of Ys, Okay, you didn't get that one? All right, Ja, I got you. So I'll see if I can do some more factoring stuff next time. Okay, all right. 11, 12. Yeah. Depends. I can't even go by grades. All right. Okay. Cool. So you're testing on the 21st? Okay. All right, good. Some Taylor series? All right. So let's take a gander. So we need to simplify this. So 2/3 plus 1/4. Now, some of these questions, I may be trying to keep it like naked. I like to call it naked math. Because there is going to be word problems. But a lot of the times they're going to say that one person's got 2/3 of a pie and another person's got 1/4 of a pie. Like if they put their pies together, how much pie do they have? So this is what's actually happening here. Yes, who said that? Mark. Yes, with the lowest common denominator, my LCD. What is my LCD? Okay, so we're looking at the denominator. We have 3 and we have 4. What is the least common denominator that we should have? Yes. Okay, so some people are saying 6, some people are saying 12. Okay, we can't say 6 because 4 is not, or 6 is not in the 4 times table. Not there, okay? So they both have 12. Okay, so in order for me to change this 3, slide over, to a 12, I need to multiply it by 4. Whatever I do to the denominator, I have to do to its numerator. Okay, the 4 times 3 will give me the 12. The 4 times 2 will give us the 8. Okay, here we go. So now we need to change that 4 to a 12. Now how do I change that 4 to a 12? I need to multiply it by 3. Whatever I do in my denominator, I must do in the numerator. Okay? And a lot of people have to understand. I know there's some people from other countries and everything. They're like, how are people struggling with us in the States? As I keep saying, the pandemic, we were already struggling before. We got a lot of people. We have a shortage of math teachers. They may not they just try to shove it on them. We have a shortage of math teachers. Because math teachers, we get sick and tired of it. Yeah, we do. I know I did. And I actually was offered a job the other day. Turned it down because I can't live that way. I'm not here as a human babysitter anymore. I put my time in. Okay? So, the reason why it's a 12, because I think someone asked, all right, the reason why we have a 12 is you got to think of the times tables. So if you have your 3s, you got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. If we think of the 4 times table, you got your 4, 8, 12. Oh, hold on. What number is the lowest number that they have in common? It's your 12s. Okay? All right, not a problem, Jay. So now let's finish this bad boy out. Whoop. So since we are adding, we don't do anything with the denominator. Stop it. Okay? So when you finally have a common denominator, just shove that over to the side. That's where this 12 is coming from. But the action, the operation is happening in the numerator. So we have 8 plus 3. 8 plus 3, that gives us 11. Okay? So we're getting right back to option B. Okay? Here's the first thing. Once I realized what my denominator was, it was a 12. Boom. A, process elimination, is gone. So now I'm not looking at all these choices. Now I'm like, oh, okay. Majority of the time you won't say anything crazy like this. Then once you start getting into here, you got 8 plus 3. You know it's not going to be subtraction. It's addition. See? Gone. All right? And then, what? No. So it's going to be B. Okay? All right? So one thing, we have to get the common denominators. All right? We have to figure out what does 3 and 4 have in common. All right. So I'm going to try. Let me just throw it in here. Let me just put it off to the side. Why not? All right? So let's say we got 4/7 minus 2/3. So this is just off the top of my head. This is going to be very dangerous for all of us. Okay? So we have 4/7 minus 2/3. In the chat, I know some of you guys are like, it's this. Slow it down. In the chat, what's my common denominator? What does 7 and 3 have in common? Okay, we got that. Beautiful maid, good. That, seed, good. We got that, good. Free waves, good. Null, good. I got time today, saying 14, okay. We got our 21. All right, oh, got time today, switch to 21. I need help, not a problem. So let's think about our multiples, okay? Let's think about 7 times table. We have 7, we have 14, we have 21, we have 28. I think we can say it right there. So then 3 times table. Again, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. So what is the lowest number that they both have in common? 21. Okay? So that's how we figure out our denominator. So that means our new denominator is going to be 21. So how do I get 7 to turn into a 21 through multiplication? Because think about it, fractions is division. What's the inverse of division? Multiplication. So we need to exactly, who said that? Rock, good. We need to multiply that 7 by 3. Sorry, that multiplied to 7 by 3. That's how we can get this 21. But whatever you do in the denominator, you must do in the numerator. So 3 times 4, that gives us 12. So now I can change this 3. 3 times 7 will give me 21. Whatever I multiply in the denominator, I multiply in the numerator. So that means we have 2 times 7, that gives me 14. So now we're subtracting. Do we do anything to the denominators? No. We did all that work to find a common denominator. Then you want to do something else to it? Leave it alone. All right? So that means we got our 21. And then we have 12 minus 4. 12 minus 4. Let's try it again. 12 minus 14. That gives me a -2. All right? So make sure we get our signs. I did see a couple too. Hi, Bobby. All right. All right. Okay. Yep, you can cross multiply if you want. Always stay the same yes and when you're adding and subtracting. Okay, only when you're adding and subtracting, you have a common denominator, you leave it alone. You just bring it along for the ride. Okay? All right. Okay, good. All right, so how do you find the common denominator? So Vicky, you think of the denominators, we got 7 and 3. That was our original. Then we had to think of the 7 times table. Then we had to think of the 3 times table. And what is the lowest number that they both have in common? It was 21. That's how we got those. All right? All right? Okay, so there we go. All right, so I got to skedaddle because I got to get ready for my tutoring. Now, hopefully, if I did this correctly, I am recording this. Now, there's a couple places. There is such a mess on my desk. I am so sorry. All right. But if you do, here's a couple of things. Sorry, it's a little dark in here. It's been a moment. Okay, so here's a couple ways you can support. If you liked this live, you liked everything about it, beautiful. If you're just like, I want you as my tutor, my tutoring sessions is $87 an hour. I am not going to lie to you. I am worth every bit of it. And a lot of people have been excelling on it. So I just want to give you a forewarning. So if you're like, oh, I want you to be my tutor, and you're like, it's not free. Okay? What I do on TikTok is just to introduce myself to the masses. All right, another thing, if you can post, if you're like, oh, I just found this live, this was awesome, tell everybody about me. However you want to put it, just go ahead and tell me about me. But if you want to follow me, go ahead and follow me here. Some of you guys have been following the creators. Thank you so much. Any little thing works. The gifts is beautiful, thank you, but it's not really necessary. But I greatly appreciate it. I'd rather you follow and be able to outsource. Now, for my replays, go here. Let me raise this up a bit. Right here. I can't say the word because, you know, we're on a different platform. All right, so if you go here, type in this, and you'll actually see a playlist that says TikTok Lives. Okay? Go ahead and subscribe to that. It's free. It's free. God, do it. Right? And I have all of my lives from February 2nd of last year. Now I have to say that because it's been over a year now. Since February 2nd of last year, I have all these types of lives. So what I used to do, so if you want to take a screenshot of this real quick, do that. Okay, what's my live schedule? I can't keep a live schedule because here's my thing. I'm going to always grab people that says they need tutoring before I do my TikTok lives, because I got bills to pay, and I love you all, but I don't, who's going to take me in? Okay? I'm expensive. I'm just kidding. I'm not really that expensive, but at the same time, like, I gotta live. So that's the reason why I do a lot of these things. I like to do it. I like to give the refrain of it. So much that I used to, okay, gotta get going on. I used to, like, I have this book out, Audrey's Notes. And what it is, it's just basically a summarization of all my lives. Like, all of my notes that I use on my lives. All of them are there, okay? So this is one thing. But if you are currently trying to get your ASVAB, your GED, your ACCUPLACER, I developed these workbooks for you guys, because with the notebook, it's just a copy of my notes. That's all it is. It's just a whole copy of my notes. If you want to look at my notes and you want to purchase them, you can. You can purchase them on the A, you know, the brown box with the smiley face on there. Yeah. But I also have these workbooks. So what happens is, oops, let me see if I can grab my phone. I know I'm trying to keep track of time. Okay, so say you want to work on positive and negative fractions, okay? I have a QR code that's right here. So let's see if you guys can see me doing this. Okay. So if I go ahead and scan this QR code, all right, it will come up with that YouTube. We'll click on it, give it a moment. I don't know, YouTube's acting funny. Okay, oh wait, hold on.
And 3 times negative
all right.
1, that gives me negative 3.
And it gives you the breakdown of everything.
They're both the same.
I'm just going to pause that. So what I did was I put all of my notes. So each and every one of these, it's like it gives you a breakdown. So that's why I give you a section for you to write your notes. And I also give you a section to put all your practice stuff down, so that I do practice examples as well. It's almost like getting me as a tutor, but so much cheaper. It's like $22.99 per volume. And then, of course, you get some extra practice problems. You always have, like, extra problems in the back. And what I did was I did a quiz, a summative quiz for each of these volumes. Right now, I'm working on 7 and 8 right now, so I can release that. And also working on 11, so I can get that right going. And in addition to that, you get resources that helps you out. Okay, so there is a link in my bio. It's a link tree, so you don't have to worry about going anything. And then plus, I give you flashcards too. If you need to work on exponents, I give you a free gift of flashcards. So we have this one for integers and decimals. We have this one for functions, factors, order of operations. Okay, if you struggle with solving equations, 1-step, 2-step, multi-step equation, distributive property, it's all in there. Okay, and these aren't like little pizzas. They're pretty thick. Okay, and then you have your linear equations is right here. You have your inequalities, your system of equations and inequalities, absolute values. Okay, so they're all in here. All right, so I'm still working on the statistics and the geometry and the probability. It's a whole series of like 15 volumes. And I have also a lot of the instructional books and everything. So next time I come on, I will actually show you, I'll probably even go through some of my formula review cards. So just in case you want to do a matching, okay, of your stuff. And they always give you an answer key at the very bottom. Okay, so I can show you some of my books. I think I'm going to probably come on maybe later this afternoon. We'll see if I do have a cancellation. So will this help with your TEAS test? Yes, because your TEAS test, you have a lot of the algebra and then the factoring and all that stuff. Okay. Okay, you reminded me about the one. I have linear equations with negative x. Yes. If you're an adult and have missed the basis of which level would you... If you're like from the very beginning, I would start with volume 1. To be honest with you, I would start with volume 1. If you've already taken the test and you're probably like around 20 points or less away from passing, whatever that component is, that's what you really should pull out. And I can tell you, probably especially for GED, a lot of you guys need, not this one, where is it? Ah. See, I'm trying to do things so fast. This is the part that gets a lot of people with the GED, the linear equations. Anything dealing with slope, anything, yep, radicals are coming up. It's just me, guys. It's just me. I'm trying to put it all together as best I can. Anything dealing with slope. So here's the thing, and then I have to get off. GED, ASVAB. The key thing is you need to know everything about slope, equation of the line, system of equations, volume, exponents, system of equations, and inequalities. Those are like the big things. I like to call them, for GED, they're your 4-point questions. You cannot pass the GED if you skip slope, equation of the line, graphing. If you skip any of those, you're not, regardless of how well you did in one part, you're not going to pass. You have to really get yourself acquainted with slope. Same with the ASVAB. You know your basic add, subtract, multiply, divide. Definitely fractions, definitely percentage. You definitely need to know factoring. That was the other part. Definitely need to know factoring. And also the same thing, slope, the equation of the line, system of equation. The more of that you know, especially volume and area and circumference and perimeter, if you know up to that, that will take you to a good high 50s, early 60s if you're doing the ASVAB. GED, you need to know slope so you can just pass the blessed thing. Okay? All right? So, have to go. But I'm going to see if I can come back on later this afternoon, like a late afternoon, probably like around 6, but it might have to be for like 45 minutes. So I will see what I can do. Log was on the ACCUPLACER, definitely, especially if you're trying to get to college algebra. Log and exponentials. Okay, the GED is the high school equivalency. So some places may call it different. Okay, not a problem. All right, so thank you so much for coming in. Sorry, I feel like I'm giving you guys a quick little teaser. But we're going to do some more work, and I'm going to try to come on TikTok a little bit more to help you guys out, but also, not to say, no shame, but I need to sell my stuff. You know, I'm trying to keep myself away from the pole as best as I can. All right, just try to use my knowledge. Okay, everyone, have an amazing day, and I'm going to see how I can close out on this because it has been a minute. All right, take care, guys. Bye now.